Good evening, Randomania, and welcome to another Lali-Ho brackets race. Tonight we've got EizanTayama versus apexcorvid. Eizan is up 1-0 against Apex due to how Eizan did in the Swiss round. I'm joined in the booth by Possum Morpheus tonight. Possum, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I am super excited to be doing comms with you for this Bad Karma, and super excited for this race, and super duper excited for objective number 4. Let's go and eat the button.
Eat the button? We gotta win a game? What? Oh man, how do we even do this, Possum?
I don't know. We'll have to get Conlamity's help with objective 1 here. We'll get Scala Kitty's help with objective 2. We'll get to compose a harp song and draw a Z-Sprite. Finding a button, I don't know. I think any of us can help with that one. Eating a button, that's me. And winning the game, I think that's for you. I think that's how we'll break this down.
If winning the game, we're definitely not going to complete objective 5. As both of these runners have been playing exceptionally well in the bracket stage. I did not make it this far, that is for sure.
Well, they are both very good. I know that you and Apex had the pleasure of battling it out, and Apex did end up flying high in that one. However, speaking of flying high, this Kane is an awful good start for objective number 4, the real one, of defeating Val. Also partnered with defeating Golbez. Those are pretty gross bosses to have to fight.
That's 2 of the 3 bosses that cannot gate underground access on this flag set. You don't want to see them early. Although since we have Kane, it does make Val a little less scary, but she still can be really scary in a lot of spots. And as always, we do have to forge the Legend Sword with the Adamant. This is classic forge though, so we're not going to be rewarded with an Excalibur. That Excalibur's been moved into the key item pool. But we do have to play the harp and trade away the pigtail. Do need to do 4 out of 5 objectives.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 to win. Like you said, that Excal goes in the pool. It actually makes it easier to find in a lot of cases than having to forge. It increases the likelihood that Cecil's going to find a really big pokey stick to go ham on the seed. So Cecil becomes, in my opinion, even more of a beast on brackets than he was on Swiss.
You can speak for yourself on finding Excals. I've done a couple of bracket seeds, and I've found an Excal once before forging.
Well, I'm biased, I guess. Maybe I'm just lucky. I don't know. But let's see if our runners are lucky. Looks like they are getting underway. Eizan and Apex going to do battle here. And this would be an amazing Swiss start with that dwarf kit. But that dwarf kit is gone. And so this Kane and Sid start with that random kitten with a little bit of money. They don't have that dwarf axe, they don't have that strength ring, but they do have 74k and a magma key.
Yeah, and why is money so important in these brackets, these Possum? Do you know why?
Yeah, because I like to buy shiny things and I can't, because everything I loot turns into 0 gold, because you can't sell it for anything because of this fancy new flag called SL0. SL0 is basically the developer's way of saying, learn to budget, you punk. You gotta learn someday.
Yeah, we can't just go out and loot and hoard all of our things just to sell it and buy as many sirens and Bacchus wines and hourglasses as we'd like. We're going to take this magma key that we got for a start, and Apex is heading immediately underground.
Yeah, I don't blame him for doing that. It'll be interesting to see if Eizan decides to peek the character on Hobbs and maybe do like a sneaky antlion check before going underground. Maybe our runners do find a siren in a coffin or something and can get extra levels on a couple different characters. But again, that starting kit, the best items in there were a Zeus Rage and an Asura summon. And last time I checked, neither of these 2 characters can summon.
Can't summon, but that Zeus Rage, that's a lit 3. We find like an early Leviathan or something like that. That's going to come in handy.
Yeah, it's I want to say like a 64 base spell power lightning J item, and it's incredibly strong. It's AoE. It's probably going to push 500 to 600 damage to whatever it hits. and that's not including what might have a lightning weakness. So to your point, an early Leviathan or Odin and an Octomammoth, that Zeus Rage could take care of all by itself.
Honestly, I went cross-eyed after I heard you said 64 base because I thought we were about to do math on stream.
No, not yet. We'll hold off on that for later bits.
Excellent. That's when I'll need to go AFK. Meanwhile, though, we're gonna get some shops, silk webs and hourglasses in Tamra.
Yeah, big investment there from Apex. 4 hourglasses. Normally, that would, or I mean, in some cases, that could be your entire money kit. But because our runners got to start with 71k, or 74k, excuse me, able to afford 4 hourglasses. And there was one of those chests that had 0 GP in it because that S Cell 0 flag is on. But there's a poison axe and a cursed ring. That is enormous. And Apex deciding no job dwarf after looting.
No
Apex.
job dwarf, but
Apex.
With honestly for this team, that job dwarf shack was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Poison axe, curse ring. This team doesn't need anything else. Honestly, they're gonna, but Apex is still gonna loot some more.
Yeah, I, again, don't blame either runner for looting here. It's still, we're 3 minutes into the seed. You got to loot somewhere. So if it could be Eblin Castle, it could be Watery Pass, but you have the Magma Key, so go loot underground. Both you and your opponent are going to go there at some point. Might as well make sure you don't miss out on anything that they might get.
Yeah, and I think I just saw Apex pick up an Elven Bow. Not sure if Eizan grabbed that either. That could be useful later. The Elven Bow has a number of properties. Ooh, the Pan early on in the Fey March.
Yeah, that's going to give our runners a lot of checks immediately. And there's some life potions as well. But that pan is going to represent the bonk on Yang himself. It's going to represent the Sheila 1 and 2 turn-ins. So our runners will be able to go to Fabul and complete all of those checks at once, getting the fabled Fabul single dip.
Man, I don't remember the last time I got to do a single dip Fabul.
I always keep trying it, and then I forget to actually defend Fabul. Oh boy, that's a gross Fey March. That is Odin and Magus sisters from left to right, Leviathan to Asura spots. Yeah, that's a hard pass.
Yeah, Eizan doing a quick loop around, and that was the very definition of Grandpa Simpson turning around as soon as he sees Bart Simpson.
Yeah, that was I am 100% good. Maybe later, maybe we'll get cheeky with some Kanderstruck strats, but not gonna happen yet.
Apex finding that exit from Tamra and putting it to use, not having to make the walk out.
Yeah, definitely don't blame him for that. That exit will come in handy for a spot like that. It'll come in handy for something like the Twin Harp. But you may also, by the time you do the Twin Harp, have a character that can cast exit. And Apex doing some random looting in Sylph Cave and getting a Stardust item and a Big Bomb. That's 2 fantastic J items to pick up early on that will greatly increase his overworld DPS.
Yeah, that is huge for them, especially with this team where our main damage source right now is a Poison Axe and a Blizzard Spear. Having a couple AoE clears like that is going to really speed things up for Apex, as Eizan didn't walk over and grab those chests.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that's a risk reward because Sylph Cave does have 7 trap chests in it. So you could very well, hit those monster boxes, but Apex did not, got rewarded, and I don't know if I'd call a Silent Staff a reward, but it's decent. It's a nice tier 5 piece of weaponry for someone not yet in this party.
Somebody's going to use it at some point, because what else are we going to do? Sell it?
I mean, you could for 0 gold. So, yeah. But yeah, that's some of the major changes again from Swiss to brackets for anyone just maybe tuning in for their first little run through of these flags. They are designed to be more difficult. They are designed so that our runners. Oh, a writer. The job dwarf is a writer. Thank you, Eizan, being the man of the people. But the changes primarily we have Spoonword is no longer. Classic Forge, as you had alluded to, where the X-Cal goes into the pool. That SL 0 flag is a big one. The Dwarven starting kit being gone. And I'm sure there's others that I'm forgetting, but there's quite a few changes, all designed to make things more difficult for the runners.
Yeah, and one of the other big ones, to go along with, the zero GP that we're seeing is also we're not on T Wildish anymore. T Pro is another big one. So we're going to see these runners be a little bit more choosy about where they loot and when they loot.
Yeah, and that's what makes that underground looting so good, is that it naturally has a higher tier than things like, let's say, Antlion Cave, Damsian Basement, Barren Town. Anything underground just naturally has higher tier stuff in it. So it definitely behooves the runners to prioritize those better loot locations.
That was a very nice weapon shop there. Ninja blades were there, dancing daggers, dragon whips, things we're never going to be able to afford probably.
Yeah, I went straight to the dancing dagger because I wonder if it would be the best source of damage immediately for this Kane before the Blizzard Spear picks up when Kane gets more multipliers. But I don't know if it's worth 5,000 on Swiss flags or somewhere you can sell stuff. 100% would have bought that dancing dagger. But I don't know about it here.
Well, I think the Blizzard Spear is probably a little bit better here.
Yeah, against Ruby, 100%. Yeah, Tella and Ye Old Leg gonna have a rendezvous up on the mountain of Hobbs there, and Leg's gonna have a bad day.
Interesting that Apex getting that Tella doesn't go and loot West Hobbs. That is a little higher chance for some loot in the overworld.
Yeah, at that point though, it's time, and maybe he doesn't want to dedicate that much time for 4 chests. Or maybe if he finds Iridia, he plans to go back and loot it then. And everyone always has their own loot routes on this. I know that I am a diehard Eblin Castle and Watery Pass guy, and I don't like to touch anything else on bracket flags. So everyone has their own thing that works for them. And, the back of Hobbs, maybe something Apex is just like, no, I'm good.
I mean, I lost to Apex by 6 minutes. That could definitely easily just be, the amount of looting I did versus him.
Could be.
See who we got dueling fights here. Dr. Luge in the bottom of the Antlion Cave, and let's see who's attacking Fabul, a Lunar Sparkle.
Well, the nice thing about the Lunar Sparkle is Cure 2s, Cure 3s, and such will damage it. The bad part is they're kind of annoying this early on. That Grimoire getting Indra is nice. It'll do a lot of damage. They will remedy. Oh no, they don't remedy because it's a Grimoire.
Right.
So yeah, this will be pretty easy for Eizan here. So good use of that J item, that Grimoire, to get through. Well, as soon as Sid's Poison Axe decides to be functional and not do Poison Axe things.
Yeah, apexcorvid actually used the big bomb on Dr. Luge there. Doesn't know, obviously, he's going to have D-Lunars probably in the next check, but does still have the Stardust as well.
Yeah, on the priority list of things that you would want to be using J items on, the big bomb usually is one where it's like, what is weak against fire? It's like Bylon Z, a particular phase of elements, and D-Lunars, and pretty much nothing else. So you tend to use the big bomb early because things like Zeus Rage are so helpful against nasties, like, Odin. There's a Twin Heart from Sheila 1, though, and the Adamant Rock from Sheila 2. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Sheila literally holds all the keys to the kingdom tonight.
Yeah, and we got Luca Key at the bottom of Antlion and Tower Key from the Fabul Defense, so we have 3 of our 4 keys already.
And 5 key items in 11 minutes. That's a lot of key items in 11 minutes.
Smapey, our restreamer, Smapey, you're supposed to hide the key items. You left a bunch of them just hanging out there.
I mean, Smapey just wanted to make sure that Plumeria Knight had some good button training this evening and got to push all of them. And maybe Smapey forgot to turn K-Moon on or K-Summon and just decided, hey, you know what? We're going to go with K-Main tonight.
My theory is that Smapey wanted Plumeria Knight to be able to push the buttons before you could eat them.
That's a very valid point. Because after about the hour and a half mark, I do tend to get a little hungry.
So as we're going over these checks again, we're gonna probably have Eisen hit Antlion. Apex, where are you feeling Apex at? Ordeals or Baron? You know, you're looking for bosses. I kind of feel Ordeals.
I think personally, I would want to go Baron first because I would want that character. If it's someone like a Palom, someone like a Rosa, even a Porum, I might want those extra levels going up Ordeals. I know that we do have 2 Sirens in the starter kit, but sometimes getting that early XP can make a big difference, and maybe even save one of those Sirens for a little later.
Yeah, with how fast these K items are, KI are coming, you may just think, hey, in about another 20 minutes, I'll have 10 key items.
It could be. Or there could be no more key items for the next 20 minutes, and the runners would probably be a little sad.
So there's an interesting question there in chat. I don't know if you're seeing it from Dissatisfied. Who's worse, Golbez at Elements into Val at CPU, or Val at CPU into Golbez at Elements? Wait, I just said the same thing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But Golbez at CPU is free. Because Golbez at CPU just destroys himself. And Val at Elements is particularly friendly. Golbez, you would have to do all the work. However, we are joined by Free Enterprise. Thank you so much for that raid, everyone coming over from Free Enterprise. We are roughly 15 minutes into this seed. We have 6 key items already found. The Pan was the Feymarch freebie, started with a Magma key. Fabul Defense gave us a Tower key. The Pan turn-ins gave us the Twin Harp and the Adamant Rock, and Luca key was from the Antlion Cave. Remember, please, though, Free Enterprise folks, no spoilers from your race, as there may be some folks in chat here who did not have a chance previously to watch that race, but welcome on in.
Yeah, we do have a really interesting one going. We had a Magma key start. We've got a double boss hunt as we're getting the first runner to check the waterfall, as Eisen looks to be gearing up to head in there, looking for this Val and Golbez.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Nobody likes a gauntlet on Ordeals. It's just annoying.
Yeah, I don't quite hate it, though, in this particular. You got to think that with the Tella in this party, majority of runners are going to come up here. So the time you spend here is, also going to be spent by your opponent.
That's definitely true. The one thing I guess that could be a saving grace here is you can always get a rogue cursed ring drop. I think both of our runners may have found one already, though. I'm not 100% certain on that. But you can always pick one of those up randomly from this particular gauntlet. So we'll see if our runners get lucky with that.
Yeah, both of them did hit Tamra, so they do have the Tamra curse ring sitting in their inventories.
It looks like that Blizzard Spear doing work as an item, and we do have our first bit of divergence here. Apex going up, Ordeals, and there is that Leviathan that you had mentioned earlier, hanging out in Baron in 1.
It's not even worth using the Zeus Rage on.
Nope. Not even close. Oh, there's something that's worth using a Zeus Rage on.
That is worth using a Zeus Rage on.
That's a punchy turtle right there.
Very punchy turtle. And with about 4,000 HP in this spot, the wave not minuscule here.
Yeah, that Kane taking off half of the health because that jump landed before the water went up. So when the water is up, Turtle Man is weak to lightning. When the water is down, Turtle Man is weak to ice. So that Blizzard Lance landing before the wave went up meant double damage coming out from Kane. So big damage there from that Blizzard Lance.
Wave's still doing decent damage, but I don't think Kanatsu is long for his drinking trip.
No, one more jump here, and Kainatsu will be taken out of the pub by Sid, Kane, and Tella. Gets a parting blow in on Kane, though, of foiling that plan from Eizan.
Is it Kanatsu foiling that plan, or is that board face?
A little column A, little column B.
Ah. Kane lives through the wave.
Yeah, this Store Rage gonna drop it. Then Kane's gonna drop in, and Kainatsu is gonna be Kainatsu more.
And I hear the reward for this spot is your favorite character, Possum.
I don't know what you're talking about. There is not a character here. But there is a Gungnir Spear, and as far as I'm concerned, that's a reward in and of itself.
That is a reward.
And meanwhile, Apex is through that alt gauntlet. So going to give us our first peek at the back attack. He did save, definitely understandable. And that's a little bit of a nasty fight also right now. Thankfully, we have Kane to jump, but CPU's kind of an annoying thing. So this is Ordeal's not being difficult by any means, just being obnoxious.
Yeah, and Eisen's going to actually get through this fight faster because of that Gungnir.
Yep. Gungnir definitely going to be able to jump for quite a bit more damage here.
Now, my question is, why isn't the CPU treated as a machine for Sid's hammers to do double damage?
Why is it also not floating when it is clearly making a floating animation? Why is anything in Final Fantasy IV the way it is? Because of duct tape, rubber bands, and a hope and a prayer from the original programmers. Remember, it's all features, not bugs. Perfectly intended and perfect in its own special way.
Everything meticulously planned out. Do disregard the fact that there's a ghost in the sealed cave that is also a giant and a machine.
Yeah. We don't talk about that one. What's that one called? The Screamer, the Witcher, the Grudger, something like that.
One of them is a Screamer. Yeah, Dissatisfied has it.
Yeah, why is that thing that should be a spirit, a machine and a ghost? Who knows? But Apex threw that CPU fight pretty quickly. Job very well done there.
Yeah, and Eisen is starting the gauntlet, so gonna be getting these 5 fights out of the way as fast as he possibly can. And we'll see who's in the changing room.
This would be an interesting one to see something like Golbez at, for example, because it's not difficult. But again, it would be another annoyance, which would go with the theme of this mountain. However, that Earth Crystal this early on, really, really worth it. Now, that's something our runners don't want to see. King Queen Eblin is super duper free, and this spot is already ridiculously free. That's that's not at all what the runners want.
Yeah, you want to be seeing that King Queen up on the moon somewhere that's early and that you can take out and get some decent XP, not here in a spot that you get no XP.
Yeah, and Apex also getting the bad news that for some reason Queen likes to stay around for, well, no reason at all. Her script is supposed to progress, and she's supposed to just go away when the king dies. But sometimes she just kind of hangs around and lingers, and it's like, can we wrap this up already?
Yeah, I've had that a number of times where she's just like, why won't you die now?
Yep. But yeah, that Earth Crystal, that is huge. Obviously, we have the treasury, but there's also two characters up there. While there are no characters as part of the objectives, there are two primary characters that I would be loving to see if I were a runner in this seed. One is Cecil, because Cecil, and two is Fusoya, because Fusoya. Don't really need to explain a ton as to why. Those are the two best characters, in my opinion, in this flag set, and any chance you can get at them, I think you have to take, and take sooner than later.
No, so this is an interesting for Apex. Going to do and Baron. I personally would have probably went over to Twin Harp and did Earth Crystal first, but that's my opinion. How do you feel about this, in terms of, the routing decision?
I would at least have gone for the treasury first, if nothing else. Even if it means double dipping into Troya, I would still want that treasury. You could pick up, for sure, a lot of tier 5 stuff, strength rings, a Gungnir spear, which, we know that Apex will get from this. But you could also get tier 6s. You could get things like a Stardust Rod. You could get things like a Power Shirt. There's a lot of really good stuff that would expedite every fight you do and might even point you straight up to Tower of Zot and be able to fade Baron. So there's a lot of merit to at least peaking the treasury, even if you don't have the chutzpah to go all the way up to Tower of Zot.
Yeah, and with, we do have the Twin Harp in hand. That is an objective for Objective 2. Both our runners should be at a comparable strength now to be able to tackle that location.
Yeah, definitely true. Our runners are probably going to converge fairly soon on that Tower of Zot. I imagine that's going to be their primary destination very shortly. But welcome in to everyone from Random Mania 2. If you were part of a free enterprise race, please do not spoil that race. We are currently in a match between EizanTayama and apexcorvid. We have 7 key items found in the first 25 minutes, so very rapid accumulation. Part of that was because the Pan was the Feymarch freebie, and both halves of Sheila plus the Fabul defense all had key items. So very rapid succession that our runners got those key items, and it was a magma key start. So really quick on getting all those, but the gear has not really followed the key items to this point.
Yeah, we've only gotten a couple of, really nice gear. We've got the Gungnir Spear, Sid's Rock, and a Poison Axe, which, you can make arguments for or against it. But really nothing else in terms of, decent armor. And while we have the entire underground open, because we do have the Tower Key and the Luca Key now, our runners are definitely sticking to these early overworld checks, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Apex going and prioritizing the objective of completing Cave Magnus, giving us all some music. This is very aggressive, especially without checking that Twin Harp. Going to be relying on the power, most likely, of telecasting Berserk and trying to get that Kane or that Sid to power through this. It very likely will work. But again, I would love to see that treasury get peaked, because there could be so much good stuff in there to help expedite this check and so many others.
Yeah, I don't know the thinking on that. Maybe something we want to note for later. I agree with you. I think the treasury would be pretty beneficial here. But Kane with a Gungnir can do the work berserked.
Yeah, definitely can. I'm always just kind of scared, because you can get really nasty things like, oh, hey, here's a surprise wyvern. Oh, hey, here's your Golbez. Stuff that it's like, oh, I wish I had, well, literally anything else to deal with these bosses. So the Twin Harp location is sneaky difficult early on. But hopefully it's a friendly sight for Apex tonight, and a friendly listen in for our ears as well.
Yeah, and if you are new to Farida Enterprise, this is a spot that one of the things we do like to randomize within the game. We still have the cutscene of Edward getting out of the bed and walking over to his harp to play it. We do, however, randomize the tune. Can be from other RPGs, other pop culture references, other games. There's, I think, over 250 different tunes now.
Yeah, 200. I don't know, 228, or maybe that's how many sprites there are, is like 528. 256 songs. It's a lot. Calamity has done amazing work. Boardface before that's done amazing work. Xenocat contributing as well for a number of different Xenogears songs. But just amazing work for all of the music. Yeah, is this the part where we stop talking, or do we keep talking? What's the community ruling on that?
I think we just keep going until they, mute us.
Okay, that sounds great to me. So, what's your favorite harp song?
Oh, there's so many that we could be picking from. And we're getting back-to-back harp tunes with Sanctuary from Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. We'll see and maybe quickly analyze what's going to be the key item here. The Legend Sword! All of the key items fallen early tonight. You think Smaketees unmuted us by now?
I'm not certain. I don't know. I can hear you. I think that the warrior princesses in the room can hear that treasury, because that was 2 heroine robes and then a whole bunch of junk.
Yeah, so we have the harp now completed for both our runners. We have objective 1 for both runners now available. This seed is this is something.
Yeah, this is a bracket seed disguised as like a K-Main supermarket sweep seed with no supermarket percent. It's just K-Main.
And it looks like Apex is going to go ahead and head up Zot. Looking for, that's two bosses up there, are looking for Valvalis and Golbez still. And maybe once the characters as well, but going to be heading up there. This is a longer check. Would there be a place where you skip this, I guess is what I'm getting at.
No. I want a shot at Cecil. I want a shot at Rosa. I want a shot at Fusoya. I also noticed that Apex put on the Blizzard Spear, which means Apex is a hunting doggos, as opposed to keeping that Gungnir on. Makes sense. Looking to splash a really nice piece of gear. Flame Dog doesn't have the best weighted percentages, but I mean, if you can find a tier 6 or a rogue tier 7 item in those first two chests, I don't hate it. Looks like he's not going to do the rest of the searching, so probably going to re-equip that Gungnir here. But it was a good thought in case he ran into it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of checking those first two chests. You can typically route it, and then that second chest is, 12 steps out of your way total. If you can pull that Flame Dog there, I've seen Flame Dog have, the wide range of a trap chest contents from, samurai arrows all the way up to a crystal sword.
Yeah, well, things that make you sad, like a tier 4 item from a Flame Dog chest. Mom Bomb, not really that nice here, because this spot normally has 9,000 health, which is a little awkward to start with for this team, because it's a lot of HP to chew through. Well, let's put another 9,000 on top of that and literally just double it and say, have a nice day. And that's what's happening here. So Apex either has to get through 18,000 health here to kill Mom Bomb before the explosion, or has to deal with the baby bombs. The issue with the baby bombs is there's 6 of them, and they're a little punchy. Probably Kate and Sid are okay. Porum will be fine if she has a heroin robe on. I'm a little concerned for Tella.
I think we should always be concerned for Tella. He casts the wrong spell, and he's gone.
Yeah, a stiff breeze knocks the old man over sometimes, unfortunately.
Unless you give him a glass hat, then he's surprisingly resilient.
Well, the glass hat is surprisingly resilient.
So we had the big bomb. Let's see if Apex can knock this bomb out before she explodes.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen because the DPS is coming from Kane, and the jump attacks take a while. Looks like he is opting to attack with Sid there, though. Let's see if we get a J item here. Looks like we're going with AoE Virus.
Yeah,
Might get rid of the gray bombs, but definitely not the red bombs.
I thought the gray bombs had more health.
Well, but the gray bombs have no magic resistance, and the red bombs do. So it gets a little weird as to what they resist and what they don't. But yeah, the gray bombs get really mean when they explode. And there's enough HP here that I think Apex is going to be okay. But it's still a little worrisome.
Yeah, I think Apex still does have that Zeus Rage. I would be considering popping that right now just to kind of whittle these HPs down.
Yeah, I think as long as 4 people are alive for the explode, Sid's going to be able to tank one all by his lonesome. Now there's 4 people alive, only 3 bombs, so he's going to get through this. Just was a little scary for a minute there.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Eizan has started his Mom Bomb fight. He's only about a minute or so behind Apex right now.
Yeah, and Eizan also, I believe, zerked up multiple party members, including Heroin Robe Porum.
Yeah, this is a good move. That's going to get a lot of extra damage. Might still be close to try and get that extra 9,000 down, but it's doable considering the extra number of turns these 3 Berserkers are getting.
Yeah, and even if not getting the skip of the explode, we'll still be able to get the the baby bombs down a lot faster because of the number of actions he'll be taking. However, there's one of the dudes that I'm always looking for.
Yeah, and with that Fey March that we have an Odin sitting there in the Leviathan spot. We have the Magus sister sitting in the Ursura spot. Cecil's going to be doing a whole lot of work, and there's a Black Mage.
Yeah, that's Palom, aka Quack Kid.
And we have 2 Sirens.
Wow, saying no to Quack Kid. Ooh, that's spicy.
Ooh.
But opting to obviously pick up this Cecil, even if only used for cover strats, that's fantastic. But Eizan is through this Mom Bomb fight as well, so picked up a little bit of time there with the Zerkers. And to answer a question from chat, yes, Octomam was seen. When doing the Tower of Zot, you see the second boss in Dwarf Castle, so you get a little sneak peek. It's nice to see it's something easy and free like Octomam, as opposed to something like a Sparkle, where you're like, oh, no. Now I have to deal with Wyvern at Dwarf Castle 2 after an atrocious Dwarf Castle 1 fight. So it's a nice little sneak peek that is offered to the runners.
And we'll see who this boss is as to get out of Zot.
So Golbez is both nice and awful here. Awful because, oh surprise, it's Golbez. But nice in the sense that if you can get a Veil off, Golbez will annihilate himself here. Apex did get the jump off with Kayn. So if Kayn can stay floating while the Sneck is doing Sneck things, Kayn will come down, can get a Veil off, and Apex will be through this easy breezy.
One thing to note, though, if Apex doesn't get through it, I don't think he turned around and saved after the Mom Bomb.
He did.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah. Both runners did, I believe.
Yeah, I saw Eizan. I didn't see Apex.
And did get that jump timing perfectly done. So this is going to be a one-shot deal for Apex. Fantastically done with that jump.
Yeah, and Cecil already has a Star Veil up too, I believe.
Yeah, 2,000 from a virus. Veils on, honestly, the 3 people that matter for levels. That Lit 3 doing 4,000 just needs to bop here, and he's going to be through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Golbez cannot kill himself with these reflected spells, but can take him down to 1 HP so that you can finish him off.
Yeah, he actually can kill himself. It just takes like 40,000 health to do it. So it's really just not worth it. And you just want to poke him there and be done with it.
Yeah, I always forget that the final hit is a quote-unquote counter.
Yeah. But that is objective 5 for Apex. Cave Magnus is done. Forge is done. Or not done, but soon to be done. So that's objectives 1, 2, and 5. That leaves our runners in the unenviable position of finding either Val to get into go mode or the Hook and the Pinktail.
Not a combination that you want to be in.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's really awkward. Now there's a package. I wonder if you spy the package and hope to spike a Fusoya here.
I think you do. You're already here. It's just in Apex hasn't checked the boss in Mist Cave or Waterfall. We know that that's not where Val is, but Apex hasn't checked it. So being over here, there's a double duty in this spot.
Yeah, it's a very good point, Bad Karma. That it's a check that Apex will want to make. This we know is just Asura, and then we know the Waterfall. I think it's DKC if I remember right. And so neither one of those is going to have anything that Apex wants, but good heads up to check that. And there's an edge. Now that's an interesting proposition. I don't know if he takes him though.
Yeah, we haven't found any edge weaponry yet.
Yeah, the best thing we've seen is Drain Spears in a shop, and they are amazing. But they're 6,000 apiece, and in this economy, that's really hard.
Yeah, you don't want to just be tossing money away just like that. literally in this case.
Yeah.
Eisen, however, Porum is the only one who makes it through the Golbez fight. I noticed that Porum actually dodged the hold gas or has a hold resistance.
Yep, that is the heroin robe. Heroin robe will protect against paralysis, which is what that hold from Golbez is. So that equipping of that heroin robe doing work for Eisen in that fight, and then Porum naturally dodging the Sneck made that quite a bit easier. That's a fantastic shop if money existed. That would be ninja percent.
Yeah, I don't suspect we will be acquiring any of those items.
Yeah, that's a bit of a feels bad because it's like, oh, hey, look at all this shiny stuff for that ninja. Oh.
Oh.
But now Apex kind of has some decisions to make. Primarily, where does he go? And looks like he's going to choose tower. Going to prioritize the double check in the tower and see what he can find.
Yeah, this is interesting. I think you can make an argument either for doing the tower or doing dwarf first. It's two bosses either way. Dwarf is also a character check, so maybe could get the foo. We do have the Siege to State 10 flags still on for these brackets, so foo's not guaranteed to appear. Still good chance though. So it'll be interesting to see how this tower plays out.
Yeah, I think both options are perfectly viable. The thing that might push me a little bit more towards tower is we already know one of the bosses in Dwarf Castle. We know it's Octomam. So there's only, Val at the front spot. And honestly, Val at that front spot in Dwarf is a stinker. Yes, there's Kane, but she is really mean at Dwarf 1. So even so, it's not a bad idea to go up this tower.
Yeah, we're getting Baigen here in the cannon room. Not going to last all too long, as we're getting to finally some divergence from our runners. Dark Imps in the first spot.
Dark Imps or Elements. It could be that tricky Elements.
Yeah, you are right. Eisen not waiting to find out, just wanted to see who the first boss was.
Yeah, it makes sense because, again, he already knew who the second boss was. So this tells me Eisen is a little bit more in face check for Val mode, which definitely makes sense because if he finds Val, that gets him the crystal, that gets him 10 key items. And then he would just have to figure out how to get to Zeromus and how to grind.
Yeah, the only issue is skipping these fights. You still got to find a darkness or a pass.
Yeah, and I mean we'll see what happens. It could be behind that dwarf castle. It could be up on tower. But again, we have this bit of convergence with our runners who have, they were pretty even and pretty much on the same path early on, then diverged a little bit, but coming back together again. apexcorvid basically up a super cannon room, but down the knowledge of, well, potentially who is at Dwarf Castle 1. It's a 50-50 between Elements and Dark Imps.
Yeah, still haven't found really anything for the Cecil to wield other than that poison axe. So gonna have to, not get the Cecil go burr quite yet.
Yeah, this is also where the decision, not just by Apex, but by both runners, saying no to Palom is a little surprising to me. It seems like this might be one of those seeds where you could conceivably try to get some nukers and white casters online, because the weapons are just atrocious for Zerkers so far.
Oh yeah, and look at how quickly we're getting the 10 key items. One of these 3 checks, Dwarf Castle or the 2 tower checks, is possibly going to give us a key item, unless maybe he's, giving up on just K-main stuff.
So, you know what fight? Really good to have a Quake Kid for. Do either of our runners have a Soma drop used on Tella for Medio here? Is one of my other questions. I don't think they do. But
I don't think so
either. Yeah, this would be a heck of a spot to drop a Medio on Mylon and Friends, if they did. Apex has purchased a Soma Drop but not used it yet. So he may be holding out for a Fusoya as well to use that Soma Drop.
Well, let's see how these runners will tackle these. We've seen a virus go out. Porum's going to do some Cure 2.
Yeah, Sid is punching. That's not a great sign. This may be where having that Porum with that Heroine robe for some extra DPS may benefit Eizan quite a bit here. There will be more lit counters, but he will get through this quite quickly.
Yeah, and the first Berserk went out on Kane for Eizan.
Yeah, whereas Apex is opting to jump with Kane on Mylon proper, and I think looking to have just AoE viruses and still focusing on Mylon himself.
Oh, Apex does still have a couple interesting J items. Does still have the Grimoire. I would be tempted to pop that here.
Yeah, if you could roll a Leviathan, a Titan, a Bahamut, even an Odin. One of the funny things that happens with Odin is it will kill, air quotes, kill everything on the screen, but Mylon's disembodied soul will still be there. It'll basically be a blank spot on the map where the sprite was, and you'll still be hitting it. It's an interesting little thing that happens when you Odin this fight.
Yeah, that's like how on the Calbrina dolls, when you Odin, it does the check on the back dolls instead of the front dolls.
Yep.
Eizan is down to just a Mylon now, switching to an Assassin Dagger. That's an interesting choice, unless he's just trying to conserve arrows.
Yeah, it could be. Not 100% sure. Maybe also wants to use that Assassin Dagger at some point to off a party member and get a swoon proc to easily do that. Could be any number of reasons.
And now we're down to just Mylons for both runners. Finally got the convergence. Eizan has made up a little bit of time with some of his fights.
Yeah, I think Eizan is going to take the lead coming out of this. His fight is just going far quicker because he has that cane that's a little more kitted out, and that cane is bopping for 800 to about 1200, whereas Apex is getting damage ranges of 100 to 400 on his characters, and his cane also seems a little frozen to me. Oh, nope, there he goes. Finally gets the turn. And is jumping with that cane. So again, I think Eizan's going to get through this first, and definitely has caught back up.
Yeah, that Berserk cane is definitely closing this gap. Not having to wait on the extra time for the jumps, getting extra swings in, slowing Mylon down. Even though Mylon's countering with these lits, I think it's just the pure fact of these Berserk is speeding this up for Eizan.
Yeah, Eizan getting 1,000 damage on the swing there from the Gungnir, and getting 600 from the Poison Axe Sid. So, I mean, he's getting 1,600 around on Zerks, whereas Apex is getting about, I think, 800 combined. So definite advantage on the DPS portion to Eizan here. Still, he probably thinks this fight is going super slow in the moment. And with all the lit 1 counters, how can you not?
Yeah, Mylon and friends, with all these lit 1 counters, it really just slows us down. There is the Oh My Body, though. Eizan is through. We'll see what his reward is.
Yeah, and also gets XP on that Porum. A Sork Robe, not what either runner is going to want to see, but Apex threw at the same time, more or less. We're 15 seconds apart, 50 minutes into the seed. That means we have 2 amazingly matched runners who I think both deserve your follows. They already have mine because Eizan is one of the old hats of the community who I learned a lot from. And Apex, one of the newer runners, kind of this new school of folks that has come around and is really taking names in the community. So make sure you give both of them a follow, and also make sure to thank Smapety, who rolled this gem, and make sure to thank Plumeria Knight for clicking all the buttons. And boy, has Plumeria had a lot to do with the first 50 minutes of this seed. And also make sure, give that bad karma guy up in this commentary booth a follow. He's a pretty good dude too.
And if you can find the button to follow Possum Morpheus, and if you didn't eat it already, make sure you hit that one for him too. He's been putting on a lot of good streams lately, dropping a lot of knowledge, not only here in the booth but in his practices. So if you want to learn something, definitely tune in.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and I also appreciate our runners being about 2 seconds apart leaving this tower. This is about as synced as you are going to get this far into a race. This is pretty cool to see. And the reward is the Darkness Crystal to the Moon.
Oh, man.
Or for Eizan, peeking the Luca Cave.
Yeah, this is interesting. It looks like Apex is possibly going to go face check these bosses. The levels in the gear we have, I would feel a little leery about some of these lunar fights. We still have a number of rude bosses up on the table. So maybe Apex hoping for a free fight somewhere, but Eizan checking the Seal Cave. I don't hate this because you can go check the key item, check the boss, and if it's nothing, just reset back to the top.
Yeah, and it doesn't leave you just wondering, was it Luca, was it Luca, was it Luca, the entire time you're on the moon. This way, Eizan has that peace of mind to know. For Apex, though, part of the reason he might be doing this is he has power underwhelming right now. And he would like some way to get to power overwhelming. There's a couple ways you can do that. One is finding a Fusoya. But the second is, no sirens have been found. No grinding has been done. You're at 10 key items. You can D-machine grind.
Ooh. Also 2 boss checks.
There's some very interesting things on the table if there are specifically no sirens in this shop. And no Fusoya on this lunar dais. So these are going to be some huge moments coming up for our runners based on the shop, the character, and also what's down here in the Luca Cave.
Bacchus wines, though.
Yeah, wine is good, but with this party, wine doesn't do a ton. There's a pink tail, so that's not quite go mode, but you have to walk it out now.
Yeah, you walk it out, but also at the same time for Eizan, I think that puts Dwarf Castle back on the table for a check that you'd want to do. That hook. Oh. The bonus Luca Sealed Cave.
Now, the thing about that is, let's say that Demas gives the hook. It's highly likely. Oh, hello, Lunar Bard, and also goodbye, Lunar Bard. Your tunes were great. You are not.
That does not spark joy.
But if Demas gives the hook, for example, that is 2 more chances at sirens. It's also another character check. If I'm in Apex's shoes, though, with no sirens being there, with that character being very D-Machine is not popular and it's not common, but if ever there were a time and a place to do it, this would be it.
I would agree with you 100%. You're not finding the gear to close the gap, in terms of not having the levels. You need the levels at this point, and having Cecil, Kane, Sid, you can D-machine those 3 and let them start swinging away on Zeromus, even with tier 4, tier 5 gear. But it looks like Apex is doing the waterfall check first.
Yeah, he was not able to do this when he checked Miss Cave and did the package check and all that. And he's going to find his DKC, and he is all set on that. And I'm really curious where Apex is going to go after this. We know where Eizan's going. It is going to be eventually through this demist, and then going to be going through and checking this demist. And Apex looks like we're going to get a Dwarf Castle check here.
Yeah, I don't hate Dwarf Castle here. Apex doesn't know the first boss in here, so doesn't know that it's either Dark Imps or Elements. But it is a key item. He knows that he needs 2 key items to hit go mode.
Yeah, and chat pointing out things like, what if it's Val in Package? What if it's Val in the Giant? That's the thing about boss hunts, is at this point, it's... you're going to find them somewhere, and there's that sneaky element. You get all prepped mentally for Dark Imps, and you get that revved robe that shows up.
There is a Val, though.
Well, one quarter Val, yes.
What, you're saying the game won't count it?
I haven't seen it count it yet.
You think with all the other things that, it goes wrong in the game some days. Yeah, 8,000 health here, though. You can overkill these forms and skip a couple, but it looks like the damage not quite there, not going to bother with Reflex. Just getting Cecil and letting him swing it away.
Yeah, this is where that Blizzard Spear would be super nice. This form of elements is really scary, but able to push through. The Fire 2s and Fire 3s from that Ruby are really the only scary part at all of the elements fight. No need to worry about that. The Berserk damage is good enough. Oh, hey, it's Val.
Hey, and Kane's jumping. We can get her out of the tornado form.
Oh. She didn't leave the tornado form.
She did not.
And we don't even get the storm cast. How sad.
Nope. Well done fight, though, for Apex. Not being able to skip through the forms, just complete blunt force all the way through.
Yeah, it does get a little more XP that way also.
Yep, and then going to be greeted with this Octomammoth.
And more importantly, who is this character that is not... No, Duke Tella is just not what our runners are going to want to see.
So, when we were talking earlier of Dwarf Castle versus Tower.
Yeah, apparently the answer was neither. But
we don't know what the key item is yet.
But Tower so far, I guess, looks to be better. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, one change, if you are new to these bracket flags, we do have duplicate characters turned off. So even if we wanted 2 Tellas, we can't have 2 Tellas in a bracket seed.
Yeah, and it looks like Eizan, unfortunately, still having to deal with this demist, is debating, do I Zerk, do I not Zerk, and what happens if I do. The Cold Mist is actually a little scary here. I believe it functions in some strange way off the magic stat at the spot, and the magic stat here is exorbitant. So yeah. I'm a little worried about a Zerked Sid here if he doesn't finish this fight.
Yeah, but Eizan did already take a Cold Mist earlier, and I think it did the most damage it did was 200 damage to Kane, because I think Kane is still rocking an Ice Shield.
Gotcha, so taking bonus damage. There's a Sand Ruby. Who is in bed? Do we have eyes on that?
Neither runner has gone to Kaipo.
I have a feeling we're about to have a runner go to Kaipo.
And was able to drop Sid there.
Well, prove me wrong.
Yeah, and it's going to be making a play for this Luca. Going to be finding that Pinktail, finding the D-Mist.
Yeah, this is turning into quite the adventure for our runners, and I don't mean adventure in a good way. These are a lot of long, drawn-out fights, and for Apex, going to be adding another one to that list, while Eizan is, I have to assume, 4 or 5 minutes into this already, if not more.
Oh yeah, this D-Mist, the amount of health that's at this spot, I'm not surprised it's taken this long.
Yeah, and chat pointing out, remember how we had all those key items at 25 minutes? Not only do we remember it, but so do our runners. And then we ran out of weapons.
Then we ran out of everything. I'm surprised neither runner has used the 2 sirens, considering our dependency on levels, considering the gear we have.
Yeah, and looks like just as Apex is going to be getting to this demist, Eisen is getting through this demist. So Apex is up the Dwarf Castle check. Eisen is up the demist check. Both runners probably thinking, I wish I had a Palom for Quake to bluff or to do any number of things, but you have to live with the choices you make, and Eisen going to be able to warp out of here with Tella and carry on whichever direction he chooses to go.
Yeah, so one interesting little time save, though, for Eisen. Eisen's not going to ride to the moon and back. I assume that if Eisen does go to the moon, he's going to be up there for a while and not take, that trip back. Whereas Apex, if he wants to start diving that lunar subterranean, that's wasted time of going to the moon and coming back.
That's a good point. It's definitely one where that weighs a little heavy on the mind of, oh, now I've taken 2 trips here. But at the same time, I think with this party, you really want to find a Rosa or a Fu.
Oh, I agree.
So I definitely don't hate it as far as a kind of gamesmanship thing to really find, the best possible characters to give you some companions who can facilitate that Sid or that, Cecil and let them go burr.
Eisen remembering he has the package and is coming in on the right side to make sure he doesn't trigger that again.
Yeah, and this is another huge moment. What does Demist have? There's the pass. So that's good, but you got a Pinktail, you got a pass. The pass is awkward because you had all this time where you have the Darkness Crystal. Val is burning a hole in your mind right now, and you're worried if your opponent has found Val before you did and didn't do that Luca Cave check. The pass means nothing if you're not in go mode.
Yeah,
so
the thing too is we've had access to Luca Cave for a while, and granted, we wouldn't have been able to get through the demist, until around now. But if the hook is at the Fey March,
I mean, if the hook is in Fey March, the hook is in Fey March. That's that's 2 fights. I mean, we're seeing what this party is struggling to do now. And again, this is of no fault of our runners. They're putting on a heck of a show. This seed started out really quick when you can do a lot of work with things like Gungnir Spears and Poison Axes. The problem is that stuff falls off really fast. And this is the direct result of those semi-shiny toys not being endgame toys.
Yeah, we're now seeing Apex starting to burn some of these J-Dums. We got a Gaia drum coming out, so starting to get any sort of damage that he can out of here.
Yeah, meanwhile we have Eisen up to the moon, going to find his Lunar Bard, and I assume say, thanks, but no thanks. I have all the music that I need this seed.
You only know one song, Edward, and it's Sanctuary.
I mean, technically he could sing if he were a toad and turn enemies to toad.
That is true.
But that's unbelievably niche, and I doubt we're going to see it tonight.
No, I don't think so either.
And Apex getting some decent damage rolls on that Poison Axe from Cecil, hitting for almost 700. Issue being, though, that Cecil is starting to cover, and I think Tella is just about out of MP. Eisen, as expected, says, I'm good. Bye-bye, Bard. Doesn't even check the shop, I don't think, up on the moon, is just heading down into the bottom of the lunar subterranean.
Yeah, I wonder if this is going to be, try to clear and try and find this hook, or maybe just face check and find where Val is.
Yeah, I think, the hook would be a nice thing to find. Val would be a nice thing to find. Again, I'm just concerned how long these fights are going to take. It's one of those where a runner of either Eisen or Apex's caliber, they're going to be able to get through literally anything.
So crazy idea. Do you maybe check chests here, looking for some of the easier trap chests?
If you have hourglasses, sure. I don't know if Eisen does. I think Apex has like 3 or 4 of them, because I remember explicitly him buying 4.
Right.
I don't know what Eisen has in his inventory for hourglasses, but the other risk that you incur with that is hitting things like behemoths, hitting things like double red dragons where the hourglasses don't work because they have the boss bit, and then you get sad. But looks like we're going to siren up some gold dragons here, so might have a couple. He also has 4 hourglasses. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. This is going to be a huge influx of XP.
And much needed too if you're going to start taking these lunar bosses. Tella's just going to weak these dragons down, going to try and get some life glitches off, and we'll see if Eisen can do get as much XP as he can.
Yeah, and one of the things also, an interesting setup that Eisen has available to him is he could go for doubles with Kane jumping, but looks like he's going to opt to just go for singles. Even so, that's going to be 180,000 XP and somewhere in the neighborhood of 138,000 gold per gold dragon pair here on 10 key items, I believe.
Yeah, and one other thing to note too, I don't know if Eisen tracks bosses or not, but we still have the officer fight, we still have Baron Guards, we still have Dark Imps. If one of those 3 fights is in the ribbon room, that's a mini grind right there.
It's a very good point. And looks like we are getting the second gold dragon to be popped here. Second hourglass going out, still does leave Eisen with 2 hourglasses remaining. And all of a sudden, this team that wasn't so mighty is getting there.
Oh, yes. And unfortunately, Boardface was not having that weak cast, so decided to take out Tella. But since these dragons are stopped, going to be able to get him up. It's going to need an ether to be able to get that second weak taken care of.
Yeah, either an ether, the psych spell, a Lilith rod to instantly cast psych when used as an item. A number of different ways that he can regain MP, even a succubus item if he has one. There it is. There's that succubus coming out on Cecil. Cecil being a wonderful MP battery, and succubus basically doing an overpowered psych. So we'll steal all of Cecil's MP and allow that weak to come out. So very heads-up item usage by Eisen there.
Yeah, usually when I'm psyching people's MP, I just say, you don't need this. I need this a lot more than you do.
Yeah, and Cecil in particular, his best attributes are damage, cover strats, and the occasional cure 2. He doesn't really need the MP.
Yeah, Cecil, Edge, I love stealing MP from them.
Mm-hmm.
But 4 gold dragons down, many levels were gotten, now in the low 40s. So we will probably be able to tackle some of these moon fights. Let's see who's in the ribbon room.
I think we might be getting face checks here because there was no heal done before going into this. So I think this might be more of face check mode rather than boss hunt mode.
Yeah, but I think if he just did a whole lot of equipment rearranging too.
Fair point. And there's your officer soldier.
Yeah, not trying to throw the hourglass with Tella just in case he gets popped here on this chain.
Now, there is a very interesting thing that Eisen could do here. I don't know how much MP he has on this Tela, but this officer accounts for somewhere around, I think it's like 65 or 70% of the XP here. He could life 2 this officer, bring it back, and just keep going through and getting a ton of XP. He is opting just for a singular life glitch. Totally cool, because that's still going to give him probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 320 to 330,000 XP from this fight, in addition to the 360,000 he picked up from the 2 gold dragon fights. That's basically grind in a box right there for this team. So Eisen is more or less, quite a bit up on Apex now for levels. Has really taken firm command of the endgame level game, and there's 290 more. There's that hook. That is go mode for Eisen.
And the X-Cal. So now we've got a Gungnir wielding Kane and an X-Cal wielding Cecil, and Eisen's grind is done, and he has the pass.
Yep. So this went from being really rude, trying to get through a bunch of nasty things with no power, and then all of a sudden, here's your shiny stick for Cecil, here's your hook for that pigtail, and oh, by the way, here's 290,000 XP to go with it. I guess we'll just send you off to the end of the game.
I gotta think you don't check any checks here. No matter what you're wanting, your levels are definitely good enough. I think you just got to go.
The only thing I might consider is the Forge shop, and it looks like that's what Eisen is doing. He might be looking, I think there were Protect rings. Yeah. And I don't know what this Porum has for HP exactly or for gear. So this is one of those things where I can definitely see him opting for Zeus gauntlets, and also opting for wait for it, 2 apples.
Yeah, was checking Porum's HP before making that purchase.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was going to go the route of apples or go the route of crystal rings.
Yeah, I think the crystal ring would have been just as good as the apples. Porum's, magic defense growth is really good. So I think she probably would have been okay at that health with the crystal ring, but the health is also good.
Yeah, definitely. But looks like Eisen is done with his miniature shopping spree funded by those gold dragons. Has those 2 Zeus gauntlets, and is going to likely be launching that hook if he hasn't already, turning in that pink tail, and he's going to be eyeing the end of the seed very quickly.
Our tracker, Plumeri and I, we finally figured out who was in the bed. It looks like it was Yang.
And looks like Apex is headed up to the moon, and the hook was at the ribbon room, along with an Excalibur and the officer soldier fight that Bad Karma had alluded to being on the moon potentially, and there it was, holding all the goods.
Just waiting for our runners. Could have been there, before Luca, but wouldn't have been in go mode.
And looks like Apex is deciding, I'm gonna go and peek into Cave of Value, which could have Valvalis, which would make it the Super Cave of Value, but that's also a horrible spot to find her.
Oh yeah, and while Apex could still do the gold dragons here, I would not want to take Valvalis at this spot.
That is a Dark Elf. You know what's really good against a Dark Elf? An Excalibur vessel.
But Apex looks like he's going to go ahead and get his gold dragons out of the way.
Definitely makes sense. Meanwhile, Eisen turning in that pink tail, getting his crystal, and is rewarded with, wait for it. Well,
waiting.
That's not exactly helpful.
one of our runners is in a cave where you would normally get Bahamut.
Yeah. Bahamut is Bahamut. Well, no, I guess Bahamut and Masamune are literally the only two items there the current parties couldn't use.
Yeah, I believe you are correct on that.
That feels a little bad. The worst part is you can't even sell it on this flag set.
Yeah, that would have been nice to go right back to Coco, maybe get a crystal ring or more apples, but nope. We're getting these weird flags starting to show up in chat.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's time for a nap.
I don't know.
I'm not tired yet, but
I'm not, and I'm a trend follower, so I'm going to put mine up too.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going to be a rebel and not. But
nope.
Bad Karma. I think there's a question we need to ask, and I'm going to let you do the honors.
Well, we need to know what Zeromus is going to look like because we can't put him anywhere else. He's too powerful. So, really, we just want to know how cute is this butt we are going to kick?
Oh, but if it's a cute butt, why are we kicking it?
It's unavoidable. We can't ask questions like that.
Oh, whoops.
There are butts out there, no matter how cute they are, that you just got to kick them. You just have to.
I suppose. But let's see who this is. Let's see how Eisen approaches this. Obviously, this is going to be Berserker strats. That one singular Bacchus wine. Cecil has decided it is time to get drunk. And the big reveal on stream, disguised as Zeromus all this time. It's a tree.
Ooh. Okay, so where is the butt?
I don't know. However, does the poison axe do bonus damage here?
I feel like it should. In my head canon, it will.
Okay. Does fire do bonus damage here?
Also true.
Okay. Tella, poison axe Sid, it's your times right now.
You've been waiting your entire careers for this, Tella and Sid. Get it going.
Unless it's that weird tree thing underground in Final Fantasy IX that absorbs fire and then casts mustard gas on you, don't do that one.
Don't cast fire on that tree.
Other trees are weak to fire, but not that one.
Don't be fooled by the fact that it's a tree and it's undead. Do not cast fire on that tree. But we got the sword swinging, the spear swinging. Kier is queued up.
And Tella lives, only to waste more time and die. Classic Tella life.
Why couldn't you just go down? Why did you have to be such a resilient old man?
I didn't want a nap yet.
Apex looks to be done, though, with his dragons going to be exiting out and wants nothing to do with that dark elf.
Yeah, I don't really blame him. It's not your Val, and it's not free. Looks like Eisen is getting roughly 6,000 to 6,500 HP around here from the Zerkers. That is going to be good enough to skip the second Big Bang as far as the HP refill is concerned. It's definitely not going to skip the second Big Bang overall in the fight. But it looks like Eisen is going the non-nerf route and is just going to throw up this Cure 4. Porum needs to live here. I think Sid is a backup healer just in case, but Porum gets enough dodge rolls and does survive this one.
And she'll get that Cure 4 off. Her HP will not run out.
Not yet, anyway. But here's to hoping.
Those apples. I bought 2 apples.
Yep, definitely did make that difference because 116 health is less than the 200.
First black hole's out, though, so gonna have to get these Zerkers re-berserked.
Yeah, out of wine. So this is gonna put Eizan in a little bit of a pinch here.
Yeah, he did not check the shop in the moon to get wine, so just gonna have to rely on Porum to. But there's rocks.
Yeah, really well done by Eizan here. Just gonna let Cecil do Cecil things, and there it is. GG to EizanTayama. And if I am not mistaken, Eizan is moving on to the round of 16. Came into this up 1 game, and that will do it based on his record and send him forward, advancing in the tournament.
Yeah, and we were told earlier Eizan would probably be skipping an interview. It is a little late for him, so we do want to wish him GG's. So make sure you are keeping a lookout as he moves on to the round of 16.
Yeah, Eizan proving that the old hats still have it. That these new kids on the block, they can't have all the fun. Gotta let the veterans have some fun too.
apexcorvid, though, is here in the ribbon room. Just needs to get through this officer fight. Gonna cast Stone. Ooh, Tella not in the middle.
Yeah, Stone has a base of, I want to say, 60%. So even with some good gear, Tella's only going to be landing this maybe 6.5 times out of 10. It's likely to hit on the second or third try, but it's not a very good chance that Stone's going to hit here.
Yeah, and Cecil is berserked, and he's just going around and poisoning all these stopped guards.
I mean, eventually HP will ran out on everything.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see, is this Stone gonna land?
I mean, if not, the Zerkers are doing work here.
Yeah, there is 1 soldier down.
There's 2 soldiers down.
Yeah, unfortunately, Young in that back row. Not a lot of ways. There's only one way I know of to back row glitch Young, and we don't have an edge to facilitate that.
Yeah, you can always be sneaky and decide, hey, Lamia, I want your harp. And then sneak glitch it with edge. There was an edge in the seed, but I don't think you sit through a package cutscene just to back row your Young. That doesn't seem like the best usage of a couple minutes.
It does not. Yeah, this Kane and Cecil just teeing off on this officer. 200,000 XP. 4 to 6 levels for the party, and gonna be in go mode with that hook and Excalibur.
Yeah, also go mode for Apex. Basically just needs to get down to and get through Zeromus. We'll see if Apex grinds anymore. If he's watching the race room, he would know his opponent has already finished. So it's one of those things where at that point, do you just go into the fight and just wing it? Or do you go in with a couple more levels and make sure you get through? So it'll be interesting to see which route Apex takes. And if he does anything cheeky as well. I know Apex loves to do funny little things to appease us in the crowd. So we'll see if we get any of those from him this evening.
Yeah, he's going to be heading back. We'll see if Apex does any shopping at the Coco shop with all that Gold Dragon money.
First, he's going to be launching that hook. Going to be turning in that pink tail, getting his crystal. May or may not check that hook shop. May or may not show us that hook character. We shall see.
Listen, I really want Apex to just run through the hook route and see who the King Queen spot is.
Because you want it to be Val.
I've wanted to be Val. I mean, we still have a number of checks on the moon that we didn't get to see, but... But immediately grabbing that hovercraft, gotta turn in the pink tail. Get the Bahamut summon, really important for the team. Oh, did you see that chain? That was that Dark Elf with the Baron Key into an evil wall on the Baron throne with the rat tail.
And a spoon in the basement just for fun. All of which leads to absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that means that there were no key items at the Ogopogo spot, the Plague spot, the Wyvern spot, or the Pale Dim spot.
One key item on the moon. That is crazy. And it just happened to be go mode for both of our runners.
Yep.
K value did have a key item, but it is a summon spot, so...
Yep. Yeah, we'll call it Lunar Light.
But Apex is going to check this shop, and not sure if he is looking for sirens or looking for more gear or another character. There's the coffins, there's the siren.
Yep. So all you had to do was go to the moon, get to the ribbon room, after having 10 key items, get all your experience, and then you could get sirens to grind. That seems reasonable.
It is curious that Apex is doing some more eggs instead of maybe, raiding the Coco shop, but gonna get that HP up on Porum.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where at this point, again, if you're watching the race room, it's already, done and dusted. And so you want to make sure you put on the best show possible, get through the fight the first time, rather than maybe try something crazy with, some sort of low-level strategy or something you might not be 100% comfortable with. If he's not watching a race room, this might just be where his comfort zone is. And actually, now that I look at it, I think that Porum is one level short of Cure 4. So,
ooh, that is true.
I think this egg is pretty much mandatory if that's the case, because going in with just Cure 3 on Porum, that's pretty much a death sentence.
Yeah, we saw even in Eizen's fight where having Cure 4 on Porum made a world of difference in, surviving a Big Bang and getting through the rocks.
Sure did, yep. And does have 4 Bacchus wines as well, so those Bacchus are going to be able to do a little bit of work in that Z fight also. But going to pick up this 68,000 XP. Going to get that all-important Cure 4 on Porum, and we'll see how far Apex takes this grind. If that was good enough or if he wants a couple more.
I would think with buying 10 sirens, probably at least doing 3, maybe? Oh, I could be wrong. Yeah, Porum's still sitting at 1,500 HP. Man, she has some Rydia HP growth right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Rydia and Porum kind of fall into the same category of the relegated to the B squad for mages, if you will, in their respective classes of white and black mage. Porum being widely considered the lesser Rosa, and Rydia widely considered the lesser Palom. Based on HP growth, stat growth, everything else, they just kind of got the short end of the stick. So it's kind of a feels bad moment for them. But you know, it is what it is. Porum with Cure 4 is still a white mage.
You know, they got the short end of the stick on the stat growth, but also on height. Something to consider. Does get one set of Zeus gauntlets though for Cecil. Gonna be heading right up. Has the pass. Gonna be heading right to Troya.
Yep, definitely. And this should be a pretty smooth fight. Apex is going to have that Yang also, which one of the nice things about Yang on this flag set, he's significantly better than he was on the Swiss flags, because you would always find on Swiss flags those fancy tier 6 items, you know, the White Spears of the world, the Murasames of the world. Yang doesn't care about weapons. his weapons are his hands, and that man can throw hands.
I mean, I do like to find me some poison claws.
Yeah, poison claws are great. Cat claws are great. But Yang's real power is just, you know, I always say it. Yang is kind of like, you know, anything where it just add water, you know, and it gets better. Mm-hmm. Yang is just add levels and it gets better.
Oh yeah,
that's how he works. He's at 4,000 HP at level 47. He's got a ton of strength multipliers. He's not going to do X-Scal Cecil damage, but as a secondary or even tertiary berserker, he is perfectly acceptable, and you have to put 0 effort into it.
Oh yeah, and with 4 Bacchus ones, the berserking is going to get done and be able to be reapplied after a black hole as well. So I would expect this Yang probably hitting for about 2,000 to 2,500, and that's no slouch damage there.
Yeah, anytime you can push an extra 2,500 damage per round, that's a big deal. Now, I do wonder, did we see a Dwarf Axe, or is this Cane just kind of going to be...
There's a Dwarf Axe right there. I think this Cane is back road.
Okay, good. That was going to be my question. That back road glitch is kind of a big deal when you apply to a Cane, because it can only be done with that Dwarf Axe, or again, some cheeky, you know, edge sneak strats. But that Dwarf Axe applying that back row glitch, as soon as it's done once, it's done permanently. So that's good for Apex to be able to have 3 Zerkers going at full strength against this Woodsmith.
Yeah, I mean, any normal X-Death strategy will probably work here, right?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, don't you do that in Final Fantasy V too? You just berserk up and let it go?
Yes? That's one way to go about it, but there are multiple ways to go about it. I mean, it depends if we're talking about, you know, the randomized version of 5 or the original.
Well, I think we're kind of obligated to talk about the randomized version here on Random Mania, don't you think?
I figured as much, but, you know...
Yeah, the Berserks are out. The Bacchus wine has been drunk. The nerf is incoming, I believe. Oh, nope. Early Cure 4 for Tella.
Yeah, Tella making great use of that Cure 4. It doesn't matter what his stats are. Cure 4, when used on a single target, will always heal to maximum. So instead of having Tella cast a party-wide Cure 4 for like 100 damage, you can have him heal up Kane for the entirety of that 2,100 damage nuke that he took. And now the real question is, do we get the Quintzerk from Apex?
Ooh. Let's see if Tella lives through this first.
Well, so Tella just managed to take 1,188 on a 1,200 maximum. That is basically impossible to do, and I would like to applaud Tella for doing that, because, my goodness.
Yeah, he really just did not want to be quinted, I think.
Yeah, he was like, I have seen enough of this. I'm taking a nap. Goodbye.
I've been with this group. Sismal Hobbs, all right? I'm done. I'm tired. Yeah, looking Yang and Kane doing 2,000 damage. Cecil swinging for 5,000. That just goes to show you with Yang not really having any strength gear, doing the same amount of work as Kane with a Gungnir.
Yep, that's Yang. Doesn't need toys. He's called Punch Mage for a reason, because Punch Mage, he just does things. You know, he doesn't need gear, much like Palom, Porum, Rosa, Rydia. You know, they don't need gear. Their power is in what they get when they level up, and Yang is no different.
Did I just see Porum swing? Oh, there she. Oh, yeah, he's manually attacking with Porum.
Yeah, why not? Bonk bonk.
I think that that last bonk may have triggered the refill. Honest. Oh, nope, never mind. It was a big bang.
Yeah, my worry here is combo platter, but even if rocks come out, you'd be looking at everyone having enough health to get through it. So here's rocks. I think that's the tip right there. And this is going to be over shortly. Apex going to finish this out behind the power of the Punch Mage, the Betrayer, and Excalibur Cecil.
Do you really need anything else?
A couple Bacchus wines and a dream, and you get through.
There's the cracked flash boom, and Apex is through with an official time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, 10 seconds. Give your GGs to him, and we will see if Apex wants to come in for an interview.
And there's a dinging in my ear, which means we are joined by the Birdman himself. GG to you, apexcorvid.
Thank you.
How you feeling with that one?
That was a fun one. I don't think I've ever had a demist fight last quite that long.
Yeah, we were wondering about, you know, that Mylon and Friends fight, that demist fight. Like, how was your mentality when you're going through these fights, just wondering, why can I not have any good weapons? Where is my damage coming from? Why is everything taking so long?
Well, that's just it. There was no good weapons. I kind of wish I would have taken that Palom and ditched Sid. I was thinking endgame when I really needed to think about how to do damage now. And a couple fights in Palom would have been throwing at least viruses and then quakes. So that would have helped. But, you know, when you're not getting the equipment like that, you just got to strap on the work boots and grind at it and hope things improve.
Yeah, so speaking of that Palom, what was the thought process? You know, neither you or Eizan took Palom from Zot. Can you walk us through that decision?
Well, it was looking like it was going to be a Zerk finish against Z. We had a Tella, we had a Porum. A Palom by himself doesn't quite justify hybrid strats. And it's not like we had amazing gear for him anyways. But if you've got that curse ring on that Sid, we've got someone who at the end game, you can have him close to 3,000 hit points. He'll have like 5 or 6 agility with that ring on. Less if you find a Dwarf Axe, which I did at the very end. And at least you have someone that can survive a big bang. And if something goes wrong, pot people back up. Like he could have potted that Porum back up, and she's throwing Cure 4s again. And our Zerkers are, medio proof.
Gotcha. So unfortunately with the loss, this means your time in the Lali-Ho League has come to an end. How did you feel about the event, that we've had it going on for the last few weeks?
I loved it. I'm sorry, Karma. I didn't keep our branch going. I was doing my best here.
you ran a great race. You know, it was well done. Anytime you can do hour and a half in these bracket flags, you got to feel proud about that, in my opinion.
I feel really good about that race. That ribbon room, as soon as I got there, it's like, oh, here's everything you've needed for the last 45 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Here's Excal, here's access to a character check, here's a bunch of sirens. Go have fun now.
And the grind, too, with that officer fight.
Yeah, I mean, that was 200k. That's about as easy as it comes, especially when you got hourglasses sitting in there. Couldn't land a stone, but that only cost me about a minute.
Yeah, you still ran a really good race, and some of the really cool things you got to do throughout the tournament. In the Swiss round, you had one of the fastest times, if I remember. I think you had like a 104 in one of your seeds. You also got to do the carrot for the big chocobo in the forest multiple times for folks. So you got to put on a great show throughout the tournament, and those are some of the things I'm going to take away from your run. Is some of those good shining star kind of memories from this. Being able to watch you play and watch you stream as well. Hop into your channel every once in a while. It's always cool to see you put on a great show.
That really means a lot, Possum. Thank you. The carrot, that's how I stay loose, It's another 15 seconds tops to pull something off like that. I've got a dead inventory space, but at the end of the day, we are playing this game because we love to play it. That's what drew us all here. That's why we've got such an awesome community. So I like to do little things like that to keep it fun.
It's definitely a lot of fun to see little things like that. We as viewers do appreciate it. I look forward to seeing more of you in future events and on your stream.
Hey, I sure appreciate that. And maybe you can get some revenge on me in the next one.
Hey, I'm there. If you're there, I'm there.
I love it. I've been telling Possum this whole race I wanted to race him. Not so much because I thought I could beat him, but he's a good guy. It'd be fun. Same with you.
Yeah, one day, I hope to be able to race everybody. There's so many great people, so many amazing folks, yourself included, obviously, Apex, and there's just not enough races to go around.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be able to scratch some up here. We'll start getting monthly tournaments going. I'm sure the Restream team will love that.
You're going to get newspapered, watch out.
Duck and cover.
Well, any final thoughts on your run here for tonight or the tournament as a whole?
Thank you to everybody for putting the tournament on. I was a little nervous about getting going with it. I had a hardware forfeit the first week, but everyone was so cool. And I finally got it going where I was crouched, like weeks 2 through 5, I was crouched in an electrical closet at work because the internet wouldn't work there, but everyone was so accommodating. Eizan stayed up late for this race, so thank you so much for that. And that's just one example. Week 1, Stone tried everything to make a slot that would work with me, but because of work and the dang internet at the hotel, I just could not get it done. But it was so cool to see everyone bend over backwards like that to put on a show and be so accommodating and welcoming. So it's a heck of a community here. I'm glad I got to be a part of it.
Well, we're happy to have you, just like we're happy to have everybody else who's part of the community. It's great to hear these types of stories where everybody's trying to work together to put this all together.
Absolutely. And of course, thank you to the comms, Karma, Possum. I'm sure you put on a heck of a show here. Thank you to tracking and restreaming team. Y'all are awesome. You make these things work. I mean, we're running these every day. Some of us running 2 or 3 a day. You guys volunteering, putting the time in, that's what makes this a show. That's why we've got so many people on so many different channels. I think we had 4 races at the same time here. That's a lot of people dedicating their time so that we can put on a show. And as a viewer, I appreciate that. So thank you.
Well, we can't do it without you running either, though. So thank you for being restreamed. Thank you for being part of the event. And like I said, hopefully we'll see each other on the ladder. And if not, at least in the next event or in the community races and, the clubs that start up here soon.
I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I'll jump in that comms booth soon too.
You're always welcome.
Caw caw, Birdman, caw caw.
Caw caw.
Well, that's all I have for Apex. Do you have anything, Possum?
No, I keep the questions to a minimum as far as the end of this one is concerned for me. A lot of the stuff was covered by you, Bad Karma, but more or less, this is about just kind of getting Apex's thoughts on things and just complimenting him on always putting on a heck of a show. But yeah, we are going to be moving on. Again, thank you to Eizan and Apex. Eizan coming out with the victory tonight. Apex, unfortunately, coming up short, but we'll be back with a vengeance for the next tournament and always putting on a fantastic stream. Please make sure that you go ahead and follow our featured runners, EizanTayama and apexcorvid. Please make sure to give Smapety and Plumeria Knight a follow behind the scenes. Please make sure to give my co-commentator Bad Karma a follow. And we will be heading off to Free Enterprise for the race between Peasants OMFG and Xenocat. Peasants is currently up 1-0 by virtue of a better record in the Swiss rounds. But that is going to do it for us. Please make sure, no spoilers, or you will get the bonk. Any final thoughts from you, Bad Karma?
No, just thank you, Possum, as well. Please give Possumorphous a follow. We'll see everybody over at Free Enterprise. As always, thank you to the team, and y'all have a good night.